His name was John. Earlier this year, when he was 26, he worked as a night security guard at a small rural cemetery in Pennsylvania. He took the job for the quiet, night shifts, decent pay, and no real interaction with people. Just fog, silence, and a couple hundred graves spread beneath old trees. Some of those graves were nearly 2 centuries old. Cracked stones, tilted crosses, half-sunk markers. A place that looked like something straight out of a Tim Burton movie. John didn't believe in ghosts. He never had. He was atheist and always figured death was the end. No tunnel, no afterlife, just darkness. While working, he had gone back to college part-time. He needed one general education class, so he took theology, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, and every faith's version of an afterlife. The professor said a line he laughed at, but could never forget. Denying the unseen doesn't mean it's not observing you. He brushed it off, but the words stuck to him, especially during those cold, empty 3 a.m. rounds. One night, out of boredom, he downloaded a ghost finder app, one of those cheap ones that claim to detect spirits using EMF readings. He tried it as a joke. Most nights it buzzed randomly. Until one shift, it spoke. "John," the voice said his name. He froze, waited for it to repeat. It didn't. He tried to convince himself it was a coincidence, a preloaded sound file, but he couldn't stop thinking about it. Over the next few nights, the app began spitting out random words. Cold, watch, behind, and then one word that hit him hard, father. John's father had been dead since he was 15, and he wasn't buried in that cemetery. He asked quietly, "Who are you?" The phone answered with one word, "Stay." He deleted the app instantly. But after that night, things changed. Whispers in the wind. Not loud enough to understand, but too clear to ignore. The shed door would swing open even when he locked it. The security lights by the fence flickered at 3:11 a.m. on 3 different nights. He kept forcing himself to believe it was normal. Wind, wiring, raccoons, anything logical, until his equipment started moving. Flashlight left in one spot, found in another. The front gate open in the morning, even though he checked it twice. One night he placed his phone on a gravestone and walked away, letting it record. When he listened to the audio later, his footsteps faded. Then a whisper slid through the speaker. "Why do you doubt us?" He didn't remember stopping the recording. Only running. Soon he wasn't just hearing things. He was seeing them. Dark shapes moving between headstones. A tall, thin figure kneeling near an old grave. When he called out, it slowly stood up and stared at him. He blinked and it vanished. The next night there was knocking. Slow, rhythmic knocking on the metal walls of the caretaker's shed. Then from the ceiling. When he went inside, the air smelled metallic, like blood. The lights flickered once. When they came back on, the wooden cross hanging inside the shed was snapped clean in half. He didn't remember leaving, just cold air hitting his face, and realizing he'd been standing outside in the dark for who knows how long. He deleted the old recordings, wiped his phone, even did a factory reset. The files kept coming back, recordings of his voice, asking questions he didn't remember saying. "Can you hear me? What are you? Show me." The last recording captured breathing next to the mic in a whisper. "You called us." He decided that night would be his last shift. Around 3 a.m., thick fog rolled in. His flashlight barely worked. Near the oldest graves, he saw a faint glow, like a cell phone screen lighting up behind a headstone. He called out, "Cemetery's closed. You need to leave." No answer. He took a step forward and heard his name whispered right behind him. He spun around. No one there. When he turned back, the light was gone, but the gravestone he'd seen it above had a name carved into it. John Thomas, 1996 to 2022. His light flickered and died. Something cold grabbed his arm. Strong fingers digging into his skin. He ripped free and ran until he reached his car. Bruises formed on his arm where something had held him. He quit the next morning, moved 2 towns away, new job, new apartment, new number. He bought a flip phone, no internet, no apps, and locked his old smartphone in a shoebox under his bed. The first night in the new place, at exactly 3:11 a.m., he woke to the sound of a vibration. The shoebox was shaking. His old phone was on, even though it had no SIM, and the battery was dead when he stored it. On the screen was a new file, EVP recording saved. He threw the phone in a dumpster behind the building. The next day it was sitting on his kitchen table, screen cracked, and another new recording was saved. "Why did you leave us, John?" He moved again 3 states away without telling anyone. But the nightmares followed. Dreams where he was no longer the guard, but the one buried in the ground. Hearing footsteps above him, unable to scream. Sometimes he woke up with dirt under his fingernails. 3 months passed. He barely slept. Every night at 3:11 a.m., his phone lit up, no matter where he moved. EVP recording saved. He never listens to them anymore. He tells himself he made it out, but he knows something followed, because when he walks past mirrors or windows, where he sees movement behind him, and sometimes when he looks at his reflection, it smiles first. The cemetery is still there. Unexplained recordings still appear. And John still won't go near a mirror after 3:11 a.m. Some places bury bodies. This one buries the living. But the cemetery wasn't finished with him. It never is. A month after John moved again, the graveyard's caretaker called his new job. No one knew how he got the number. He said John's old replacement quit after a single shift. He never explained why. But the caretaker whispered something before hanging up. "They still ask for you." That same night, John woke to the sound of dirt scattering across his bedroom floor. Not footsteps, not knocking, digging. He lay frozen in bed, listening to nails or fingers scraping wood under him, as if something was tunneling up through the floor. By the time he turned on the lights, the sound stopped. But in the morning, he found soil under the bed, fresh soil, from somewhere deep. A week later, he noticed something else. Every mirror in the house was wrong. When he passed one, the reflection lagged behind, a full second late, like something was stepping into place. Then the reflection began acting on its own, turning its head when he didn't, blinking when he stared, smiling when he wasn't. John covered every mirror and window, but that didn't help, because he could still hear the whispers. Not through his phone anymore, through the walls, through the vents, through the floor. The last recording, the one he never played, started playing by itself one night, a voice whispering through static. "You don't run from a grave, John. You only delay the burial," and for the first time since he escaped that cemetery, something answered him out loud, not from the phone, from under his bed. A wet breath, a voice. "We found you." A wet breath, a voice. "We found you." John didn't run at first. He just stood there, every muscle locked, every hair on his body rising, like something cold had brushed past him. The apartment felt wrong, like the air had weight, like he wasn't alone. His phone screen lit up on the table. EVP, recording saved, 3:11 a.m. He hadn't touched it. He hadn't spoken. Yet the recording kept growing, second by second, like something was speaking into the mic. That was enough. He backed out of the apartment without packing a single thing. No bag, no keys, not even the phone. He just left the lights on, door hanging open behind him, and ran. Down the stairwell, out into the cold night air, barefoot on concrete. He didn't drive. He didn't stop. He just walked until the sun came up. And somewhere behind him, in the empty apartment, miles from the cemetery, his phone kept recording. Because once the dead know your name, distance doesn't matter anymore.